It is like hardcore, like I wasn't expecting quite that.
They want to bring some cool ideas in here that people aren't currently doing. They want to grow some really exotic fruits and vegetables that, you know, we don't necessarily have here.
People are coming here to live their passions, to live their values, to live, you know, to develop themselves and their families.
Back home, it's like your nervous system is just kind of on high alert most of the time. Just living life in the States anyway.
I'm supposed to do, and they kind of suppress that and push it back and shove it back into the back of their conscious, and they just keep going through the motions again. And then eventually, if either of those groups come and they don't take the time to unwind and remedy some of that, man, that's where the kick in the face comes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not just one. It's like a kick in the face, then a kick in the balls, and a kick back in the face, and then you're going home cursing Vilcabamba in Ecuador, you know.
Vilcabamba is really truly special because of the community.
The ramifications of that, right? So you're not gonna get spoken to the same way, treated the same way. You're not gonna have the same conveniences. You're not gonna have, things aren't gonna be as organized as you expect.
Your lifestyle dramatically changed from that kind of perspective?
No, I mean, the area's developed.
Sure.
But yeah, your point is all valid.
Yeah.
How much, let's say percentage-wise, in 10 years, Vilcabamba might have grown 15%?
Yeah.
Maybe 20 or less?
Right.
I think that's
less.
about right, yeah.
Right.
15%,
And you've got suburbs that grow that in 6 months or a year in Canada and the States.
No one's coming here to further their career. People are angry, and you know, it's not a perfect place or a perfect community.
I'm looking around, and the guys that run the place, they were like wanting to make sure that they take pictures of the gringos there. Like, that's still kind of what it is. Like when you're further out and they see, you know, locals see gringos at their businesses, it's almost like they're happy. You know, I don't even know what it was, but it was like almost like you're like a circus.
A lot of people that are seeking a different life in Ecuador have alternative views, alternative ways of thinking, alternative lifestyles. There's people who sit around and talk crap about other people.
I'm only noticing this year, but I think whenever the grass turns red, that's the dry season.
100%. So it goes to seed.
And you're seeing it right there, like on that San Pedro.
Yeah, that happens every like April, May. What's being built here is freaking cool in terms of the community. You know, the vibe, the energy.
Everything happens slower in every aspect of your life. So you see way more traffic at the restaurants, and you see way more traffic at the rivers.
Sure.
On the weekends, and that's not mostly locals. It's mostly people from out of town.
You know, Daniel was saying basically Vilcabamba's a utopia, right? Hello and welcome back to the Ecuador Insider Podcast. Jesse, Carl, Brandon. We're getting coordinated here. We're thumbs upping Fernando. Welcome back to the show, guys. Hey, if you enjoy this content, continue to enjoy it. I don't think I'm saying the like, share, subscribe thing anymore. I think I'm done with that.
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm just feeling a little bit ornery and contradictory at this particular moment.
You're good at it.
In fact, no. Here's why you don't say it. 'Cause here's why.
Don't subscribe.
Don't
Don't like it.
Well, no, we didn't need to do that.
No, why not?
either.
I mean, what the hell? You want to be controversial?
No, you got to stay in the middle. Like, you don't want to swing too far that way.
Oh,
too far
that's
that
why
way.
people watch us, Jesse, because you stay in the middle.
Is that what
We're
it is?
so in the middle.
Is that what it is?
You're in the middle.
We have no opinions. I mean, you are the man in the middle.
No, because everyone on YouTube says that.
Yeah.
It's a great reason not to.
Right. Well,
It's like when everybody's buying tech stocks.
Yeah.
It's a good reason not to.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just the wisdom of the crowd. You just go against it.
Go
Against the herd, yeah.
I mean, that's pretty.
Yes.
So please unsubscribe right now.
Don't do that.
Generally
Carl.
good advice, I
If
would
it works.
think.
Anyhow, so subscribe if you would like to.
You're such a rebel.
I am a bit of a rebel. Brand. I mean, I'm down here in Vilcabamba, Ecuador.
You're wearing your wife's hat
I'm wearing my wife's hat.
every day.
I have a scruffy, scraggly beard
Nice.
You've been.
that my mother highly dislikes,
Oh, yeah?
which also makes me continue to
There
grow
are
it.
conspiracy theories
Yeah.
out there on the interwebs
Yeah.
that you're actually Puck
What is puck?
from what the heck is that MTV show?
Oh, I think I remember that. It was like Puck. Wow. You just
Yeah,
I'm having
yeah,
flashbacks.
yeah.
It's like the 90s. That
Oh,
was,
what the heck?
Real World.
Real World, San Francisco.
I couldn't have told you that, but
Yeah.
I do have a memory of that. He would have like blonde hair or something.
Yeah. We can see if we can find a picture of
Yes,
Puck.
put it-
We'll
I have
edit
no
it
idea
in.
what
But
you guys
yeah,
talking
that's
about.
the conspiracy theory that Puck is now in Vilcabamba, and
Well, yeah, they had that. They
his
had that.
pseudonym
I mean,
is-
they have that whole conspiracy theory where like celebrities switch identities. Basically, they're basically actors playing one another.
yeah, right.
So I'm that. Is
Yeah,
what
you're-
is where we're going here.
Yeah, and I mean, and you do have, there's some connections you have to San Francisco, at least in mannerisms and such.
Okay, bro.
The hat for sure.
Good. We're staying in the middle. Good job, Brandon. We're definitely staying in the middle.
Hey. Speaking of actors that
Yes.
that are playing each other, I watched a little bit of the Tom Brady roast.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Dude, it is so, I can't believe how raunchy. It is like straight,
that too.
no middle. It is like hardcore, like I wasn't expecting quite that.
Yeah. No, they went for it.
Wow. Went for it. And some, like Nikki Glasser, I don't even,
Oh, it was a politician?
no, she was a comedian.
Oh.
She killed it, dude. She had me cracking up, like beyond most of the other comics. Like
you watched it. How long
I
was it?
watched, it was like 3 hours.
Oh, was it? I only saw like 30 seconds of highlights.
Ben Affleck came out. This is what made me think of this, because Ben Affleck came out. I'm like, wow, is this like an actor playing Ben Affleck? Like, who is this? He kind of looks. I mean, maybe he's just getting older. Maybe it's as simple as that. But it looked different to me.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning came out, roasted him.
Was he still Peyton Manning?
He was totally still Peyton Manning with his giant horse neck.
I mean,
and
when
4x4 head. He was
one of the funniest looking. When John Kerry ran for president, what was that, like 2004? 2000?
It was probably, it was right before, because Obama was 08.
So it had to be 04, right?
Yeah, 2000 or 2004. Yeah.
I mean, he definitely,
No, it was 2004.
There was like John Kerry, war guy, then John Kerry, anti-war guy, and then senator, and that was all John Kerry.
And then he became a Shar-Pei.
What's a Shar-Pei?
A human, the dog. Isn't that what a Shar-Pei is?
I
The
don't
dog.
Right, so I wish I had that reference because
Oh.
yeah. So he runs for president. He's still John Kerry at that point, and then he goes into hiding for you don't see him for a couple of months, and then I see him on TV again, and if that's just the same guy, he had a lot of surgery. I mean, if that was the same guy, that was
Yeah, there's a lot of people that say that about Fetterman now.
Fetterman. I don't even know
Fetterman, he's like a shaved head. I think he's got a goatee. I don't know if he's a senator or politician. He's some politician, U.S. politician. And there's like the many faces of Fetterman.
Oh,
and
I mean,
like,
Biden as well.
yeah.
Has a few different looks.
Right. Yeah, wild ones. Wildly different.
I mean, people change as they grow old.
They do.
Yeah, but do you get your earlobes, the bottoms of your earlobes attached when they're not? Does that happen over
stuff
time?
like that, yeah.
Because like
I mean-
surgery.
I mean, I get surgery, like, sure, facelift, eye lifts, that kind of stuff, but would you ever, hey, you know what?
I'm gonna reattach this.
What the heck? I don't know, maybe. Maybe there's a
Alex
reason.
Jones, it's Bill Hicks. Can go
Yeah,
down
Is
I
that a
saw
conspiracy
I saw
theory?
that one, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gone that deep, but some people swear by it.
No.
Michelle Obama's a man. Can we go there?
I swear by
I
nothing.
mean,
but
Joan
have
Rivers
seen-
said that before she got,
No, well, yeah,
She
she
said
said
that
she was a
they're,
tranny.
A tranny, yeah.
Which is kind of the same. Whoa, are we being shadow banned yet?
can we say that?
Perhaps, I don't know.
Transmission? Got my transmission fuel. Is that fluid? we're just segueing away from tranny to transmission. Maybe the
That's what
algorithm
you
doesn't
meant,
hear
isn't
it.
it?
Yeah, I mean, right, Michelle Obama. I mean, she's like a truck.
Well, that is okay. All right, bro. This is not good. Well, I mean, the word that Joan, that was. I mean, that was the
there.
word that Joan Rivers used.
Tranny. That's
Oh,
right.
did she?
Yes.
Oh,
That was
so
it.
we're just.
I'm not.
We're just-
You might be being bigoted right now. I don't know.
I mean, perhaps. Are you just? You're just an
I'm
innocent in the
simply-
middle reporter.
I'm simply
I'm
repeating
reporting
the
on.
words that-
on
and then she abruptly passed away.
Did she really? Oh,
Okay.
man.
Well.
Rest in peace, Joan
now-
Rivers.
Now that we're done with that opening segment, well, let's talk a little bit about sort of the people, the people that live here, the people that come here, because
Yeah.
we're joking around about some conspiracies offending everybody, hopefully not. But a lot of the people that come to, I wouldn't even say come to Vilcabamba, that's true too, but a lot of people that are seeking a different life in Ecuador have alternative views, alternative ways of thinking, alternative lifestyles. Pause.
Sure.
In terms of all kinds of stuff, right? So I was, hanging out. There was a couple that's in town, and that's really one of the cool things too. Is just how many new people just keep coming all the time. It's really awesome. I was actually at the market 2 weeks ago, and Luann, who runs or has a role anyway, maybe she runs it in the library, the children's library, which is awesome. And they're always at the market, and my kids.
Biblioteca.
The biblioteca, very good.
Oh, thank you,
bro.
Damn.
Was just commenting to me like, wow, all the new faces, right? And there's a lot of new people coming, and they all seem to be like really high vibe, cool people. And I've been really enjoying that. Anyways, these folks, sort of they befriended me on Facebook at some point. We've exchanged some messages, but I've also just kind of been watching their lives, as you can do, on Facebook. And they ran basically a gigantic sort of permaculture, organic, like fruit farm out in Florida. Nice. And it looked really cool. Like I was really enjoying their lifestyle. And then I knew they were coming down to Ecuador. I didn't know if they were coming here or like what their really plans were. I hadn't talked to them. But anyways, I was following kind of their trip around Ecuador. So they were in Quito and they were here and there and doing different things. And I guess they own some land in Fruit Haven. Which is a place you owned land at one point. It's like a vegan community.
It's like a raw food or no?
It started as like a raw vegan community. Now I think they're bending the rules. I think they started allowing cooked food, which was actually like nice prohibited. And then maybe now
is that a flame?
And then maybe now there are people who are no longer vegan that also live there.
No kidding. Okay.
I'm not too sure, but I have heard that.
Is it a big place or?
Yeah, I mean, it started with one big property. I think it was called Terra Frutis. And then it grew into like Fruit Haven 1, 2, 3. So 3 properties. And I think there's even another one called Evolution or something like that.
Where is it at?
It's all in around Gualaquiza, El Pangui, Chuchumbletza. It's actually in Chuchumbletza.
Zamora.
Yeah.
Zamora. Actually, it's Morona, Santiago.
Morona, Santiago.
Yeah, just north of Zamora.
So they got a place there.
They have some land there. I guess they went... I guess they've owned that for a couple of years, so I assume they've been there before. But they don't want to live there.
Right.
They discovered either now or previously. They were just saying, just hot and humid and that kind of stuff. So they really like Vilcabamba. Anyways, they wanted to get together, so we went to have lunch. We went over to Prasadam, which is it's like a is it vegan or is it vegetarian? I don't know, but it's probably
There's
vegetarian.
Some vegan stuff, I'm sure. Yeah.
Vegetarian place that was taken over about a year ago by a lovely couple from Peru. I used to eat there sometimes, not frequently, but I used to eat there sometimes. I hadn't eaten there in a while, so I hadn't tasted the food since they took over. It was delicious.
Nice.
It's cool to have that. I think they're still Hare Krishna folks, and it's kind of part of the Hare Krishna community here in town. Anyways, really lovely people, nice vibe, like nice ambiance.
What was your favorite dish there? The celery sticks?
Well, anyways, Brandon. So just chatting with these people, right? So they're down, really cool couple. They found a property outside of Loja that looks like they're probably gonna purchase.
Outside of Loja,
like rural, but in the valley still.
Cool.
Yeah. So like you've been out to my property, so probably a little further out and a little further towards the south.
Okay.
But also the east side of the city.
Sweet.
Interesting.
Out past Zamora Huayco, if you're probably
Huayco
familiar with that.
No, it's beautiful there.
Oh, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's beautiful, beautiful. Anyway, so they're going to do some really cool stuff out there, like food forest, permaculture, tourist, possibly some tourist stuff. And he's a chef, and they got...
Are they vegans too?
They're vegans.
They're vegans, okay.
Yeah, they're vegans.
So I'm making jokes about...
You're making, well, it's all right. I mean, you've offended everyone else so far.
I mean, what
so
the hell?
Go for it.
Yeah.
But no, right? But like coming down with that sort of, and the specifics almost don't matter, right? In terms of like what someone's interests are, but just in terms of wanting to do cool stuff that that speaks to whoever the person is, right?
Yeah.
So for them, it's like they want to contribute, they want to help sort of build up the region in terms of the ideas they have. They want to bring some cool ideas in here that people aren't currently doing. They want to grow some really exotic fruits and vegetables that we don't necessarily have here.
Sweet.
They got all these kinds of ideas for some tourist stuff and it's awesome. Like,
Awesome.
and it's
Yeah.
just, we have like a lot of that kind of stuff
Right.
going on.
No,
which is
and,
really
and I
cool.
think you nailed it in the beginning with, folks that have an alternative way of thinking about things. It's almost a prerequisite, right? I mean,
yeah.
whether it's almost inherent, right? Anybody that's coming here or leaving where they're from, they almost inherently have that alternative way or a different perspective, whether they're conspiracy theorists or not, but they definitely have a unique way of thinking or a way of navigating social media or the world or life or what's important. They have a different set of values often. And they take action on those values, and that, for me, that's the cool part. But it's almost like a prerequisite that most people that come here that end up staying have that alternative perspective. They're not mainstream, running through the hamster wheel. This is how you do life. This is what success looks like. This is go blah blah. They're not those people, and it's awesome. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like no one's coming here to further their career. Be like a good way to sum that.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
it's
exactly.
true.
Yeah. I mean, it's passion projects, right? People are coming here to live their passions, to live their values, to live, to develop themselves and their families, and based on the values that they have, and because of all the things we talk about that we share from here with the climate and the cost of living and the community and the helpful ingenuity and the helpfulness, and it makes that makes it a reality here, makes it possible, much more attainable, where when you try and think about following your passion and living your values and doing a passion project in the United States, in some of these places where the idea can be successful, the competition and the cutthroatedness, I don't know, is that even a word? But it's much more difficult. The barriers to entry are more difficult. It's much more, the vision has to be further out, to make it a reality. And here, it's like right in front of your face. It's right there. You can reach out and touch it. It's real.
Yeah, I mean the legal regulatory
Right,
environment
yeah.
is probably the biggest impediment. It's like this. I was interviewing. Maybe I'll get off track here slightly, but I was interviewing the Soul Bistro guys, which came out on Sunday, and Daniel, who did most of the talking.
Yeah, Daniel's awesome. Izzy's awesome too. They're both awesome.
No, they're awesome people.
Yeah.
Daniel was saying basically Vilcabamba is a utopia, right? I don't think it is at all. I don't think Ecuador is. I think, and maybe there might be a language aspect to that word that he's using as well, just because Spanish is his first language. But what's being built here is freaking cool in terms of the community. The vibe, the energy, the things that are happening, what's taking place, the way people take care of each other, the things that are going on, the projects people are working on, the activities available to you, just sort of the way it's like 7,000-8,000 people maybe in this town, right? Something like that. And what's available here in terms of really just like high energy opportunities and events and activities and people that you can be part of, it's incredible. For me, like that part of it is incredible. And Daniel was really speaking to that, like speaking to the community. He opened up those guys opened up the restaurant, and they talking about the synchronicities that went into that, and the way the community just showed up to support. Like people were donating art, and people were doing this, and people were doing that, and then like we're highlighting them on our channel, and it's like that's like what is available to you here is that community. And I think for us, and it's not perfect, right? It's not a perfect place. There's undercurrents. There's people who sit around and talk crap about other people. There's people who snipe and and our people who live in fear and people who are angry, and it's not a perfect place or a perfect community by any stretch, but that is the vast minority, right? Is like that kind of stuff. That is not a big percentage of the people here.
And often they're even overrepresented because they're typically the loudest.
Yeah, for sure.
So there's even less of them. They're just loud and obnoxious.
Yeah, and it's like, it's really, it's no, I mean, it's just true.
Yeah.
It's really gratifying and fulfilling and joyful, whatever. For me, and I think for us, but I'll just speak for myself, all the time that people spend sort of giving us flowers in terms of, folks that are really cool people coming here to do really cool things, and then just, come up to us to thank us, basically, right? Like, so it's really fun to play that role that we play here and sort of highlighting, hey, here's the cool stuff that's going on here, here's what's available here, and then letting that attract more cool people.
Does it resonate with you?
Stuff.
If it does, come on down, And maybe Daniel's, use of the word utopia, I mean, it's relative because this place is unique. It is unique. So from certain aspects, there's utopian aspects. It's not utopia. It's not this kumbaya, everybody, if that's your version of utopia, obviously that's not here and maybe nowhere on earth. But there are utopic aspects to this place. There's unique community, culture, people, and it is the people, I think, that really drive it all. The blend of local and expat, immigrants, whatever you want to call the people that aren't born here, that come here, and the people that are born here, and the synergy between that and the culture that creates. It's magical. It's unique. That's, razz me but that's utopic. That is a little utopic. And there are other things, when you take into all the things that when you have that piece, which maybe that's probably the toughest piece to go seek out. Like if you're seeking community and a culture, that's probably the hardest part because that's the least impactful one, we have as individuals to change if it's not what we're looking for, right? But it's probably the most rare too, the most rare to find that. So when you have that here, and then it also happens to be in a beautiful valley, near the equator that's, got year-round growing seasons and great soil and clean water and clean air, maybe, cleaner than most other places on the earth, if not one of the most. Again, it's not utopia, but damn, man, there's a lot of utopic, aspects of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's a really good point. The people, the community, the people is really what makes this place special. If you had the same place without the community, it'd still be great. It had some good aspects, but it wouldn't be the same. And a good example is, you go 12 minutes away to Malacatos. Not that Malacatos is bad, but there's just less expats, and all of the activities and the events and the things that are happening, the restaurants that Vilcabamba has, Malacatos doesn't have, right? And it's a similar size town. It looks very similar. The climate's similar. There's, same mountain, same river, sort of. But you don't have what Vilcabamba has, So Vilcabamba is really truly special because of the community.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And I feel like, in general in the world, but also just the time we're in, it's like that's what people are searching for.
Yeah.
They're searching for community. They're searching to live in and around people they like and trust and can build a life with and can share things with. And, it's beautiful.
Yeah. And how do you find that through the interwebs? It's hard. Like you need to go visit. You need to go check it out because it's not for most people. People have these idea that I think this is the lifestyle I want to live. And then they come down and it's if they haven't really decompressed and thought about what they value and how they really want their life to look, that's a kick in the face, man, for a lot of people. That's hard to recalibrate. So coming down here and really feeling it, testing it out firsthand, I mean, there's not a better way to do it.
And it is not for everyone, of course. And I think we just thought of it just now, but if you're more of like a not that you couldn't live here happily and stuff, but if you're like kind of quiet and you're more of an introvert and you don't really, want to meet people or be around people, like of course you could be like that here, but this place has more to offer if you're wanting to meet people and be in the community and build relationships and stuff.
So speaking of coming and checking it out, our next Vilcabamba Lifestyle Retreat is in October.
That's right.
Possibly one of you two fine gentlemen know the dates. If not,
18th?
Hey, both of you. So yeah, check out links below. You can see, you can check out the We Travel page, and that has all the info.
We're releasing a promo soon. We've got a promo that's almost ready. That'll give a little short highlight, and then we're going to release some type of other forms of content about the retreat to give you guys a bird's eye view of what actually happens and a real inside peek behind the curtain of what the retreat can offer you. So that'll be coming out soon as well. So we'll announce that soon.
That's right.
So speaking of kind of the culture in this place, and just to touch it for a second on what you were saying, Brandon, in terms of it can be a kick in the face.
Yeah.
It's really almost more than anything. It's like your nervous system that has to adjust.
Yeah.
Which has to do with your thoughts and mental state and all kinds of other stuff. But then back home, it's like your nervous system is just kind of on high alert most of the time. Just living life in the States anyway, just kind of where I'm from, versus here that's just not the case. And the ramifications of that mean all kinds of things that could be very difficult, when you're moving here, because the expectations that you have of people acting a certain way, talking a certain way, treating you a certain way.
See, look at, I'm treating you a certain way. I mean, who else would pluck a random beard hair from your shirt so that you look better in the high-def camera?
Only you, my friend. Only you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, from deeply. Right. So the ramifications of that, right? So you're not going to get spoken to the same way, treated the same way. You're not going to have the same conveniences. You're not going to have, things aren't going to be as organized as you expect. There's not going to be the same level of sort of oversight, government oversight, and otherwise that you would expect. There's not going to be the same level of precision on life and just on things that you're going to expect. People aren't going to show up always the way you expect, on time, the same, communication's different, like everything is different. Mm-hmm. And so it takes a real recalibration. Like if you're coming from a culture that's sort of high strung, high stress, you're kind of all the time, go, and you expect a certain level of, just things making sense to you in that way, right? And things showing up when you expect them and as you expect them, and people taking responsibility when they screw something up, and the government more or less having their act together, although that's kind of being generous. But it's you're going to find a very different life here. The benefits of that are maybe the most amazing culture I've ever been a part of,
right? And
a much more relaxed, much more stress-free, much more just better lifestyle from my perspective. But if you can't adjust to that, you're going to hate it here.
Right. Well, the kick in the face really comes for the folks that either, it's like typically one of two. Like either they're so ignorant to their current state of life that not in like a detriment, like in a way that it's so normalized that doing life this way is so normalized for them that they don't even comprehend that this is high stress, that it's just, this is just life. This is what we do. This is life. Like, this is how we succeed. This is how I do this, that they don't even take the time to comprehend that, wait a second, this is high stress, right? And then it's the folks so that's one group. And then the other group is the folks that have recognized that it's, wow, man, I am stressed out beyond belief. This can't be the way it is. But then they lie to themselves and say, no, this is the only way. This is what I'm supposed to do. And they kind of suppress that and push it back and shove it back into their back of their conscious. And and they just keep going through the motions again. And then eventually, if either of those groups come and they don't take the time to unwind and remedy some of that, man, that's where the kick in the face comes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not just one. It's like a kick in the face, and a kick in the balls, and a kick back in the face, and then you're going home cursing Vilcabamba in Ecuador, you know.
And that's fine too, right? Like, as you just said, Carl, like, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's the other thing too that I think is important. It's like, you know, we're sharing our perspectives of Vilcabamba, Ecuador,
Right.
which is one of the most unique towns on earth. Right?
Tiny. 7,000, 8,000 people. Tiny towns.
I mean, and they're like, I don't know how many other Vilcabambas there are in the world.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure some towns here and there with some similarities, but you know, so if you're listening to this, or you're interested and you're thinking about Cuenca, or you're thinking about Salinas, or you're thinking about Quito, or you're thinking about, you know, Olón or whatever, right?
Right.
Like, most of this doesn't really apply. Like, some of the cultural stuff does, because, you know, to some degree the culture in Ecuador is the culture in Ecuador, but the culture in the cities are way different. Culture on the coast is a bit different.
Yeah.
And this town just is completely unique.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, what are you looking for, right? Like, if you are looking for high culture and nightlife and, you know, museums and shows and you know, the best, most latest alcoholic beverage that, you know, and the coolest, you know, hip hop, you know, whatever, right? Like, you're just, you know, you're looking for just stuff like that. Like, Vilcabamba, Ecuador is not for you. Like, you're not going to enjoy your life here. No. There's a bunch of barefoot hippies walking around. There's a bunch of people hugging each other all the time. You know, there's people who appreciate nature. You know, our kids grow up like little wild animals, like, for the most part, right? Like, I mean, my kids, I can't get them to put shoes on. Like,
that's funny.
You know, I mean, I'm half joking, but you know what I mean? So again, right, you know, maybe then, look at Cuenca, right? Like, Cuenca, it's a cool city. It's got all the nightlife. It's got all the restaurants. It's got all the culture. It's, you know, it's...
Different culture.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like, culture, like cultural experiences.
Yes.
Like, culture
like museums,
in that way. Museum,
right. Architecture and that kind of stuff. Arts.
So...
Yeah. I mean, I hear that Loja's the new Cuenca. In terms of, I mean, it's a, you know, similar size city. It's about half the size, maybe a little bit less, maybe.
A little bit less. Yeah.
But there's a bit of a nightlife there. There's definitely a museum. There's there's a music scene of some kind. A lot of classical music, it seems like, but other types of musical events and whatnot.
Yeah,
and,
I've heard. Go ahead.
Well, the cost of living is lower in Loja.
Yeah.
There's now a little bit more of an expat community there. Not nearly as big as Cuenca, but I think it's definitely way more drivable, way more quiet, way more peaceful.
Safer, you know.
Safer and stuff. So.
Yeah, I've heard people tell me that that they think Loja is like 10 years behind, you know, Cuenca development from that perspective.
Probably 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying since I got here, like, at some point internationally, Loja will be discovered and it will become like Cuenca in that way, as in terms of a destination for expats. That's happened very slowly. Right. To the point where, like, 11 years later, it's still not really. Yeah. You know, there is a little expat community, but it's little.
Yeah. That's a great point about all of Ecuador, I think, in that because of the culture, because of the bureaucracy or lack thereof, because of the regulation, because of the terrain even, you know, it makes things happen slower in general. So development, everything happens slower in every aspect of your life. So the velocity of change is dramatically less than you probably expect, even in a place like this. Like, people have been here and they were here 5 years ago and they were 8 years ago, and it's basically the same. There's a few more restaurants, but it's kind of not materially changed. So, you know, folks that have concerns about, you know, gentrification and all that, it happens so much slower, and there's still such a small amount of expats that are actually in Ecuador, anywhere. Yeah. Even Vilcabamba, like, it's still a small percentage of that, and things change so slowly here, slower than anywhere I've ever been. I'm sure there's other towns that change at this pace, but it's dramatically slow. So the velocity of change, if that's something if you struggle with change, you know, like you have less of it to deal with here. You have less change that you have to deal with. I mean, in 10 years, is your lifestyle dramatically changed from that kind of perspective?
No, I mean, the area's developed.
Sure.
But yeah, your point is all valid.
Yeah.
How much, let's say percentage-wise, in 10 years, Vilcabamba might have grown 15%?
Yeah.
Maybe 20 or less?
Right.
I think that's
less.
about right, yeah.
10,
Right.
15%.
And you've got suburbs that grow that in 6 months or a year in Canada and the States.
No, the whole boom and bust cycle back home is intense.
Right. So and it's just an interesting point because people don't have the context. I get a lot of folks that come that don't realize how small Vilcabamba is. They think it's much bigger than it is. They think there's way more expats than there are. They think, you know, so when you're here, it's just good context for folks that aren't here anyway, to understand that, you know, the velocity of change in Ecuador and across the board, particularly in the rural areas where we are, it's like a turtle's pace.
Yeah, and I know we've said this before, but gringos, expats, are a minority here.
Yeah.
The majority of people everywhere, but in Vilcabamba are Ecuadorian,
I mean, people
local Ecuadorian.
speculate around 10% of the population
Yeah, that probably
in
would be about
Vilcabamba
right. And a little more, yeah.
is expats.
Yeah.
And what happens is when you roll through town, you see a lot of expats sitting at all the same restaurants that they sit every day. And, you know, a lot of expats are retired. They don't have to work. They don't have a 9-to-5 job. So you see them more because they're out and about, you know, during the daytime. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we're still definitely a minority here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it'll always be that way, as it should. I mean,
As it should, right?
And anywhere you go, just outside of the square, it's way more noticeable that you're a minority.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like anywhere. Like we went this weekend, Quinn had soccer Saturday, so we were in Loja, and we had, you know, his buddies Jesus and Iker with us. And then they've been trying to get us to go to the trout, Finca Capamaco,
Nice.
right? For finally, and Jesus is so excited about, Brandon, muy truchas, muy rico, you know, muy rico, can we go? And he's trying, I'm like, fine. So we decide to, you know, yesterday, or it was Sunday, we're gonna go. So we get Diego and, you know, Iker and Jesus' cousins in from Quito. So we swing by Los Wilcos, pick them up. We go to Capamaco, and you know the kids are fit, and it was a blast. And it made me. The reason I thought of this is because there were no other gringos, at least that I saw there. I think when we left there was some upstairs, but I'm looking around and the guys that run the place, they were like wanting to make sure that they take pictures of the gringos there. Like that's still kind of what it is. Like when you're further out and they see, you know, locals see gringos at their businesses, it's almost like they're happy. You know, I don't even know what it was, but it was like almost like you're like a circus. Yeah, right.
It still happens. People want to take pictures of you and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, and that's not that far away.
It's not that far.
It's 15 minutes drive.
15 minutes, right? Yeah.
It's a beautiful area.
It is awesome. Yeah.
You know, my son was born right there.
Oh, no kidding.
Right before you take that last bridge. Anyways, yeah, we live there in Capamaco. Beautiful place.
Yeah, it's really.
It used to be a dirt road, actually. It used to be not even a dirt road. It used to be a trail.
Wow.
That they turned into a road maybe about 10 years ago. It had just been turned into a road when we moved there, basically. But,
cool.
Super clean river, great spot for the weekend.
Yeah.
People ask me where to go swimming, like Yamburara, and then Capamaco would be another good choice.
Yeah, no, it's funny though. It's like even I get like nostalgic with the change.
Yeah.
You know, I when I used to be out with clients a lot, you know, I haven't done that probably in like 4 years maybe or something like that, but when I used to be out like with buyers and sellers, you know, I was always exploring different areas and I was in the same places or different places like all the time. But now, since I haven't been doing that since like I think 2019, 2020, you know, I'm not getting as much to the same places that I normally get. I just go where I like to go, basically, which tends to be you know, over and over again in many
Same
cases,
places.
right? Yeah. So I hadn't.
Strip club in the casino.
Exactly. I hadn't been. I mean, you would know. You're with me. I hadn't been in Kinara in a while. Like I probably had maybe driven through the center, maybe 6 months ago or something. But I hadn't really like been out across the bridge and been in different places. So we go out a couple of weeks ago in Kinara, and like it was a Sunday, and we went parked under the bridge, which I've done a bazillion times. There's like a ton of people.
Yeah.
There's probably like 30, 40 people set up in different locations at the river. it was like shocking to me. I'm like, wow, Quinara is really developing. And then I look up and they got this whole mirador built in the, which wasn't there before. And they got like a little like bar restaurant and people are hanging out up there. All of this was very cool and also sad. It was like, and no foreigners of any kind. I mean, these are all 100% locals. 99.9, literally that's probably accurate. 99.9% of the development in this region is local development. It has nothing to do with foreigners. But it was interesting.
Yeah, I take the retreat group there every retreat. So I've seen when they started building it, and now it's basically ready. It's a really nice mirador.
Yeah, it's
like
really
bathrooms
nice,
and little benches and stuff.
Cool.
And the view there is awesome.
It is.
Right, it's the best view, like in Quinara, where you see the whole valley and stuff.
Yep.
And then, to your point, about part of this too is you were there on the weekend and it was busy, but if you went there any weekday, it would be empty. Yeah.
Right. That's a good point because, not only are the weekends busier here in Vilcabamba, and the development is, like you said, 80, 90% locals. That's a piece I think is another misconception about the area is where the development comes from, and the busyness of the weekends is a great reflection of that. Like you have folks from Loja that are coming to Vilcabamba and they're going to restaurants and they're hanging out in the park and they're buying second homes and they're doing that here. Like Tiff and I went to Eden, open back up. Ralph, Max, yes, welcome back to Vilcabamba, baby. But we went to Eden. It's beautiful. They've got 2 stories. They got a back garden.
Cool.
It's really nice. Same menu. So you got all your favorites back at the restaurant. But we're there, and Tiff and I are sitting there eating, and we're noticing all the people, all the Lojanos from out of town are coming up, dressed nice, coming to come check out Eden. I mean, it's not, Eden isn't an El Muerto type of restaurant. It's a, higher price point. It's a nice place. People are drinking wine.
German owned.
European
cuisine.
And there was a lot of Lojanos that kept coming in and coming to eat. And we were the only, maybe there was one couple, gringo couple, elderly couple that came in while we were there, but we were there for a good couple hours and it was just Lojano family or Lojano couple after Lojano couple. And it's just a good, it's a good anecdote for it wasn't just gringos that are, that type of business probably wouldn't survive on gringos alone.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And part of this too, all restaurants here, even though you think Sunday is family day, all the restaurants are open on Sundays because they get so many people come from Loja.
Yep.
And typically you're like Monday, Tuesday will be where a lot of restaurants are closed here in Vilcabamba because that's their weekend.
Yep. Yeah, so you see way more traffic at the restaurants and you see way more traffic at the rivers.
Sure.
On the weekends, and that's not mostly locals. It's mostly people from out of town.
Yeah, I think this weekend there was the beauty pageant in Vilcabamba.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I heard
saw
about
them setting up the stage.
Yeah. It was a ton of people.
Yeah, it looked big. Yeah, they set up
massive amount of people.
Every year, basically, someone gets crowned the Reina, the Queen of Vilcabamba. It's like a beauty contest or something.
Brandon won once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Can I say?
I can see that.
Hey.
Hard to be
Nowadays,
as beautiful as you are, bro.
Right. And you're 100% correct. They also had like this little mini carnival thing. I don't know. It wasn't even.
Yeah,
you couldn't even.
gone twice.
Yeah. It was great. Yeah, they got like foosball tables and darts and a little, dart gun thing and a bouncy house.
But that bouncy house is awesome.
Oh, it's great.
It's like a huge.
Yeah.
It's not your. And it was $2, not one.
Oh,
it was $2. Yeah, $2.
Well, I don't know if it went up.
No, it was it was $1.50 last year.
I think it used to be $1.
The normal bouncy house is usually $1, but
that's a little tiny
like
ones.
25% the size.
Yeah, this is a massive one.
Big one.
It's a serious bouncy.
It's a serious bouncy house.
But that's cool. That's a great babysitter also.
Yeah, it was fun.
20 minutes, $2, done.
Right. And they were cool. They let you stay on longer.
Yeah.
All right, boys, did you have fun?
Yeah!
Were you in?
No, I literally, it's a great example of the culture. My 2-year-old was done. 3-year-old, he's 3 now. My 3-year-old was done in the bouncy house. And so he wanted to play foosball, which he can't even see over the table. But foosball was 50 cents. So we're screwing around on the foosball table, and then he wants to go back to the bouncy house. My older son, who's 5, who wanted a second turn on the bouncy house, is there. he's probably got 10 more minutes or something. I don't know how many more minutes. And so you're supposed to be $2 every 20 minutes. So I say to the guy, I'm like, I just hand him 50 cents, which he probably would have let me do it for free. But I just hand him 50 cents. I'm like, because my little one's now crying to go back in. I don't want to start another 20 minutes over. Right? So I'm like, I hand him 50 cents and I'm just like, just let him go until he's done. And he's like, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And that's just like, it's just an example of how all that stuff is here.
I've noticed a lot of expats too are amazed of these old foosball tables.
Yeah.
And also the arcades.
Yeah.
You got these old arcade things from the 90s maybe or something.
But it had a PlayStation controller.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, which was so weird. It's like an arcade machine.
Yeah, you've not seen those? Yeah, they have. There's little hacks. So there's guys that have hacked so you can get all the PlayStation games and all the Nintendo games, and it's on a hard drive.
Yeah.
You just plug it in, and then it's so you can have it.
That must be what it is.
Yeah.
So they're really playing PlayStation.
I guess. I mean, it was a controller.
Yeah.
My son was doing like a bicycle race.
Yeah, they used to, back in the day, when the Raspberry Pi little mini computers came out, people started using those to hack all that stuff and have little game systems.
Sure.
And,
But that's a cool thing that, I've living here for so long, we kind of take for granted now, but every month at least there's something like that happening in Vilcabamba, some celebration, bouncy castles pop up. You got the Gusanito, right? The little train thing that drives through town.
Oh, that's great.
And does circles at the traffic lights. It stops all the traffic.
It's all lit up. Yeah.
It's all lit up at night.
There's probably gonna be a party this weekend. It's Battle of Pinchincha, right?
Yeah.
Celebration.
They
of
like
that.
to celebrate here. There's always a good reason to celebrate.
They do.
Have a holiday, a three-day holiday or whatever.
Yeah. So, a couple of things I want to cover real quick. I got to wrap here in a few minutes. Going to interview an very interesting lady. I think her name is Lorena, I think. Let me look up. Let me see if that's right. It's going to take me longer than that. But yeah, Lorena, hey. I'm very bad with names, and I nailed that one, Brandon.
Well done.
Well done, Jess.
Yeah, she's really cool couple. They know you. He is European. I don't know from what country. She is Ecuadorian. They lived in Europe for quite a period of time. She does some sort of therapy, healing, something or other, which I'll find out about today. I think
She gonna fix you?
That's impossible. And so yeah, I'm gonna go interview her. So she wants to introduce kind of her work to the community and herself. They seem
Are they
really
new
cool
folks?
people. Relatively
New. Yeah.
Would they do the nature stuff with the kids?
No.
No, somebody else.
Yeah.
Okay.
They'll be coming out as well. Catalina.
Okay.
Fernando's going there tomorrow to shoot some footage. But
Is that up at Capamaco, right?
which?
The nature stuff? No.
So they right now they're using 3 locations. They're doing one up in San Jose. The other is at Prasadam, and then the other is at the Pyramid. So they kind of, I don't know, there's some schedule that my wife knows about.
Yeah.
Actually, someone was mentioning, I won't mention the name, but they're a bird expert and stuff, and they were interested in maybe giving a little thing for the kids, to learn about bird watching.
Yeah, I'm sure we could take his name. I talked Bill.
Yeah.
Bill's he's a birder, expert birder,
Nice.
and he knows all the birds in Ecuador and knows especially the birds around here particularly. So he's offered to give like a homeschool class.
That'd be cool.
To educate the kids and show them about the birds in the area, and then if there's interest, like we can kind of do like a field trip type thing and take people out.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're working through that.
Throughout all the years of living here, I'm sure you guys have noticed on the videos, I've learned about trees, fruit trees, plants and whatnot, but I don't know anything about the birds here. I wouldn't know what they're called, what they look like, that kind of stuff, but it's interesting because there's a lot of birds here.
Yeah. I was in Guatuche, which is 17 minutes from here, a few months back, and I've only seen it once.
I love how specific you are sometimes on some
minutes.
On minutes. And then other things, it's like 8 million times. But 17 minutes away precisely.
Well, you want to know why? Because if you're thinking about this area, you need to actually know how far away the town is or that thing is. Versus if you're just saying something is a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, it would be helpful if other people drove like a bat out of hell like you,
Right.
Because your 17-minute
His
drive.
car is 14.
Carl does drive a race car truck.
Sometimes. Depends if I want to be on time.
I love how there's this little like it's like the crappiest car in Vilcabamba, but it's blue and it has the number 18, I think, painted on the side.
Yeah.
The little Datsun.
Yeah, I think so. And when my son, it's the gardener guy. I know him well. I'm forgetting his name, but every time my son sees it, he gets very excited for the race car.
Oh yes.
But I was out in Guatuche and I saw this probably like if you included the tail, if it it's probably like I don't know 2.5, 3 foot bird, blue, like sort of ocean, like more in between like tropical ocean and regular ocean blue.
Cool.
It was beautiful. I'd never
get a picture?
seen. No, we saw it and then we were watching it. It was like across the river. It was close. It was probably 50 feet away.
I'll have to ask Bill.
And then it flew away. But it was absolutely. I mean, I hadn't seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could ask Bill. Bill said that there's birds here that are nowhere else in the world.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like
There's a lot of things like that in Ecuador.
Yeah. No, there's actually like buses of bird watchers that show up sometimes.
And
here.
they usually
no
are
kidding.
in Zamora. They usually go to like the Orient, but
Yeah,
they can
I'm
do
sure
it
you
here
can see
too.
them.
Sure.
Cool.
Yeah. The weather's changed.
A bit.
It's dry
It
enough.
now.
Seems like we're definitely, which it always is around May when it changes over.
Yep.
It's gotten windier.
Yep.
Gotten slightly.
Well, shoot, like overnight it got windier.
Oh yeah,
Yesterday.
it was super windy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a sign that the
That
dry
it's coming,
season is
yeah.
happening. It's coming. Yeah.
So it's gotten windier. It's gotten slightly cooler. I was at the river yesterday in the wind with my kids, and I was like,
Ooh,
all right,
yeah.
it's a little bit cool.
Those gusts
Really
yesterday
cool.
were
And I
nippy.
think I'm only noticing this year, but I think whenever the grass turns red, that's the dry season. is starting.
100%. So it goes to seed.
And
Yeah,
you're
and
seeing
then
it
you can
right
see some of
there,
that red grass
like
up
on
in the
that San
mountains.
Pedro.
Yeah, that happens
That's-
every like April, May.
Yeah. So
Yep. Happens
dry
every
season is upon us.
Yeah. So we're doing that. We've got, people asked for sort of updates on the whole Naboa security situation. Like we really don't have any. Like it's ongoing. It's nothing going on in this region whatsoever.
Right.
No one talks about it. So I don't know like if there's anything interesting out there to know about, but if there is, I don't know about it.
Right.
Or you guys have anything to add?
Yeah.
And then we'll end on this. So I had the great pleasure of seeing Brandon's daughter perform in a dance concert on Friday night, Saturday night,
It was
Friday
at
night.
Iday's High School.
It was at Iday's old high school, right
Yeah.
over there.
Which is the colegio.
The
high
colegio
school.
right
Cool,
there.
Cool.
And I think just describing this for a minute is also like great insight into the culture and the way
Sure.
things work here, right? So I pull up and there is one other car parked, which is Brandon's car. So that was the first thing that happened, and I think to myself, this may not be happening. Walk in, and there's a bunch of kids running around like outside in the basketball soccer court area, and then there's probably 30 people seated inside, and another 5 to 10 around a table making empanadas. And,
those empanadas
they were really
good.
and stuff. And the whole school, the whole place is pretty beat up. It's pretty like old school, not well maintained. I think one of the basketball hoops was about 12 feet high. The other was probably about 11.
Yeah.
For those that aren't basketball fans, it's a very precise 10-foot measurement on a basketball court hoop. So we go inside. So the first couple of dance performances, actually let's start here. Nobody knows from Brandon's family, right? You're there, your wife, your kids. Nobody knows what we're doing. Like, what are they celebrating? Like, what's the event about? So I asked, I'm like, hey, what are, Tiff doesn't know, Brandon doesn't know, right? And partly could they not know because they're not like super plugged into the school or whatever, sure. But also that's indicative of just how things are here. Like, you were telling the story recently on the pod, like, whether it's a soccer game or a dance performance, you might find out the night before or the day of even, or, oh, hey, tomorrow at 7, we're doing it. Right. So that was funny. So we're all sitting there. None of us know why or what we're doing there, like other than to see Bella. But so that was funny. And then the first couple of dance performances, it was like young people, like
high school kids,
like high school kids probably, who had put on. costumes of a sort of like, like maybe one of those indigenous like shawl, I don't know what you call them, like, those like throwovers that open for the head and then go down.
The poncho.
Poncho, thank you, that's the word. One of those ponchos and some hats.
You should know about ponchos more than me.
Why?
I don't know. You're that kind of guy.
Okay.
Wears them.
I wear ponchos?
You should.
I should.
Looks like you should.
All right. Coming from the rainbow vest guy. Anyway, so got put on a hat, have a fake guitar, like a fake drum or a real drum, and they put on
the guitar was real as well.
Guitar,
Jesse.
yeah.
Okay.
Well, fake in the sense no one was playing it.
Right.
Yeah.
They were fake playing the real guitar.
Fake playing the real guitar.
Yes.
Thank you. You got to be precise with your words.
I mean,
today,
17 minutes,
apparently.
bro. 17 minutes.
And they're basically just doing this.
Right, in circle, dancing around in a circle
for like
5 minutes
or 5 minutes, and then that song ended, and then they left for like 5 or 10 minutes. It was like a good period of time. Came back, played another song, and did
the same thing.
And people were filming and taking pictures and
clapping. Yeah.
And and I'm thinking to myself, it was like a good measuring stick for me in my life, because 10 years ago or longer, I would have been sitting there like, what the bleep is this?
Right.
Why am I here? This is ridiculous. This is and I was so enjoying myself.
It was a blast.
Along with everybody else.
Yeah.
Just sort of hanging out and having a good time. Then your daughter, who they're much more choreographed, and that was like a really legit performance, and it was awesome. The traditional dance group, was it Nukanchi?
Nukanchi, yeah.
Is it fair to say she's the only expat in the group? There's also a boy, maybe?
There's a boy, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. There's a couple other that are starting,
okay.
Like friends
nice.
that are kind of starting in, but she's the only like regular expat girl.
I remember one time they performed in the square, and that was hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see, like, she's got blonde hair, she just stands out, from the rest of the group.
She loves it, man. She loved, like, last night they were, they performed. There was a performance somewhere, and then part of the group was making costumes for another performance. So they got together, they put some money together, and they're all together, like, sewing costumes and doing that last night. And,
no, it's so cool. Like, I ran into your kids at the Coliseo yesterday, late afternoon, and Bella was telling me, like, they're going to make costumes.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's age, like, Bella's 13, so she's, like, the youngest that performs. And there's people that are, there's dancers that are 21, 35,
really?
Yeah, it's like, so you have to be, I think 13 is you have to be that 12 or 13 or something to be in this particular group. But yeah, it's all different age ranges, 17, 18, 21, 25, 30.
No,
yeah,
and like
so it's
that
cool.
all that lifestyle stuff, it's like I probably around 4 o'clock, my son woke up from his nap, the little one, and I took my 2 kids to the Coliseo to to screw around with a wiffle ball and a wiffle ball bat. And he didn't want to do soccer. He normally sometimes does soccer. He didn't do soccer yesterday, but so we, your kid, Quinn, your son, is super into soccer. And so there was soccer practice was going on, and other kids are just playing at the playground and in the Coliseo, and so we're screwing around a little bit, and immediately the bat, because people don't play baseball here, so immediately the bat and the ball like attracted a bunch of kids.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So kids come over and just watching, there was a young lady who was either a sister or a mother or a nanny of one of the kids that she was with.
Mm-hmm.
Just the sweetness of her and how she like made sure I ended up sitting down and reading a book and made sure because the kids were having fun, they didn't need me, but making sure that the little one, my 3-year-old, was getting the ball, and all the kids were so sweet to each other, and nobody was like, there was none of that like rah rah F you energy,
Right.
from anybody. And then, then my wife finished what she was doing, so she met us there. And then, of course, you've got friends everywhere, anywhere you go. So she's talking to, some of her friends that have kids there as well. And then your kids came over, and then we're screwing around. And your son was there, too. Like, Soli was there.
Oh, yeah, nice.
We're screwing around with Quinn and Soli for a few minutes. And then Bella's hanging out, and Bella's telling us about the costumes. And then they're asking us, like, hey, are you guys walking home? Because then they'll walk with us that way versus the other way. So then we walked home. And, like, it's just...
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nice. Like,
No, that is awesome. Like that's a cool thing now where we live we have that shortcut to the Coliseo. So like Tiff will walk Quinn to soccer practice every day down through and, you know, send
Out
them
the
across the river and through the woods, like literally
Cool.
to soccer
It's nice
practice.
down there, actually.
Yeah,
It's a
it's
cool
cool.
little spot.
And then, you know, occasionally I'll do that with him and, you know, and that's fun for them. They can kind of do that. And sometimes the horses are down there, so they get to see the horses.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
occasionally there's a tienda owner that's down by the Coliseo that has goats.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, he rents some of that lower property. So occasionally the next thing you know, I have 5 or 6 goats in my yard.
Oh, really? They come up
Oh,
there,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, then we
No,
got
I
a
mean
call.
the fact that like you go to the park and there's goats half the time is just hilarious.
Oh, dude.
Sometimes horses,
This
cows.
this is wild. So we were in Loja on Saturday we're at the outdoor, what are they called? The caballeria or something? I don't know. Is there a word? I don't know.
Stables
Yeah.
stables?
Oh, caballeriza.
Caballeriza? Yeah, whatever Carl said.
Caballeriza, yeah.
But it's these outdoor soccer fields, and then it's like a military base or a military training center or something, and they have horses everywhere. And I've got footage of
sure.
this. It's
The
just outside of Loja, or it's in
military
Loja.
base?
It's like there's military everywhere.
It's got to be. Yeah.
Part of that military base.
In
huh?
Zamora Huayco.
Right.
And anyway, we're playing, and they're getting ready for the game, and there's 4 or 5 horses that just come running onto the field. So I'm like, only in Ecuador. I'm like, hey guys, we're here. I'm sending it to my friends. We're here for Quinn Soccer's games, and there's 4 or 5 horses decided to join us on the field, and they had to stop the game a couple times because the refs had to chase the horses off the corner of the field.
So yesterday, when we're getting ready to leave, the last like 20, 30 minutes at the Coliseo, a guy came on a horse and he was trying to train the horse. So he was like 50 feet away from us, trying to get the horse to like go around in a circle. He was on it.
Yeah.
And then the same guy did almost the exact same training with his wife or his girlfriend, but she was on a moped. And he was running with I swear to God, as if it was a bicycle. He was running
that's
with the
hilarious.
moped around in circles with his wife as she tried to keep it upright.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right in the motor. It was great. I mean, it was great. And I didn't even until you brought that up, it didn't even strike me as odd.
Right.
And
Ecuador, baby.
All right,
Yeah.
I got to roll. Guys, if you made it this far, do some cool stuff. Come down and see our We're not saying it. See our October.
Don't subscribe. Come
No,
on.
You can't say, all right.
Yeah, and don't come to the retreat. It sucks. You won't like it. Gosh, I mean, you really
Pretty bad.
won't. I mean,
pretty bad.
gosh, we're
You
biased.
you
but
won't make any lifelong friends.
No.
You won't have the
definitely
time
won't.
of your life.
No.
You won't stay in a great hotel and have great
No,
food.
no.
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
please don't.
All right, guys.
All right.
It's so weird.
Well, we hope to see you here one day.
So until then,
We'll see you next time. Take care, folks.
ciao, guys.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel right here. Check out our real estate channel right here for content that you will absolutely love. Click right here. And if you want to know how we got here, click here.